We are happy to announce that this episode of the SWW show is partially brought to you by Humble Bundle. Well, not really. We are part of the Humble Bundle referral program, and we just wanted to say that if you like really cheap games and maybe helping charity pending the Humble thing going on, all you have to do is go to humblebundle.com/partner equals SWW. That's right, humblebundle.com/partner equals SWW. And you just do your normal stuff, and it just kind of helps us get a couple bucks here and there. Maybe it helps AJ get his lights, maybe it's Mike camera, maybe we actually pay Corey for helping us out. But again, if you're going to go buy games anyway, it might be worth checking out. Perfect, I'll get us started. Hello everyone and welcome back to one of these interview episodes of the SWW show. I'm Mike, and today with me a special guest from definitely not next door. To get us started, do you mind introducing yourself, the team you're part of, and the game?
Okay, so yeah, my name's Ben Pritchard. I'm from Lader Entertainment. We're based in the UK, and I'm currently working on a game called Bullion, The Curse of the Cutthroat Cattle.
Perfect. Well, yeah. So you're from UK. Where? Because I know we kind of talking a bit before, and I know you two, your partner sadly was a little bit sick today, so couldn't join us. Where roughly kind of like in the UK would that be? Kind of, so you guys like more London? Are you more Manchester? Kind of where would that kind of be in the UK?
Well, we're kind of dotted all over the place. So I'm in Gloucester myself, which is kind of out west towards Wales. Paul, my co-programmer and business partner, he's in Milton Keynes, which is a bit kind of a bit north of London. But yeah, we got people dotted all around the country. We've got some people up in Leeds, which are up there more up north. Got some people out of the east of London, So yeah, it's a remote team, as quite often happens these days, but it works for us.
I was actually going to start and ask for that one to get us started. So obviously you guys are a distributed team, and it seems like there's quite a few of you, which I've been obviously talking to. Those super small teams or teams that tend to be more geographically tighter than that. How has that been working? Because how has that being remote first worked for you guys? Obviously we've had a lot of teams start going back to office and back to these things. Has that been working for you guys still?
Well, the first thing you got to keep in mind is that we're not actually a full-time professional studio. We do this part-time around day jobs, so I'm kind of embracing the true indie spirit sort of thing and doing it purely because, partly because we enjoy it, and partly because whilst Paul and I have been making video games since forever, and we don't really want to make a career out of it. We just enjoy doing it, like I said. But we've got people on the team who do want to get into the industry. And they're hitting that barrier of must-have experience when they're applying for jobs. So this is kind of giving them a bit of a leg up as well to get them that experience they need, and hopefully from that they'll then go on to a full-time industry studio job. So with the remote side of it, it was kind of inevitable that it was going to happen that way, and we've just embraced it.
That sounds great. So let's jump into the game then. As we said, this is Bullion, The Curse of the Cutthroat Cattle.
Yeah.
Immediately I noticed, because this is a good old-fashioned, one four-person kind of, it felt like a good old-fashioned, almost like a lot of these games we used to get kind of these very brawly type, kind of, you're just kind of, let's go around. We still use very thing you're doing kind of. What was the inspiration for this game? Where did this come from?
So, Lader Entertainment's been around for quite a while because we started right back in the 90s with and when we kind of put it down for a while, picked it back up again probably about just over 10 years ago, and we were a mobile studio at the time, working on mobile titles, and we were brainstorming at one point for new ideas, and at that point in time, Angry Birds was very much in vogue, so. One of the keywords that we put up on our wall of post-it notes was angry, and well, pirates kind of fitted under that because they were angry people, and bulls kind of fitted under that because they're angry animals. And those two post-it notes just happened to end up next to each other, and we just saw pirate bulls right next to each other. And then just the idea kind of knocked around our heads for a while. It's like, there's a lot of ridiculously bad puns we can make out of this, a lot of stupid jokes and things that, the kind of things that would make people just read it and groan. And we just thought, yeah, we've got to do that. So that was kind of like the key inspiration for Bullion. We then put it aside for a few years because we had no idea what it was going to look like. We just knew we wanted to make a game with pirate cows in it and pirate bulls in it, and then it just seemed to kind of like evolve out of some other things we had going on a few years later.
So I appreciate how it's like you just like I know these insane characters we want to go with, and it's gonna come back to it. How much has it kind of changed then? As you said, you put it down for a bit and then you come back. Like people change, the designers change over time. Like, is this the same game that was?
Far from it. I mean, the original version of Bullion, the original kind of idea we had, it was going to be a mobile platform runner game, starting off with your pirate bull getting shot out of a cannon, and the idea was to smash through as many things as possible before you hit a pitfall or something. Very common sort of mobile style of game. And we just thought, there's a apart from the silly pirate angle, there's nothing original, nothing new in that. There's nothing that would kind of made us sort of like think, yeah, that's really what we want to do with this. So we just sort of like put the pirate bull idea aside, thinking we can do something better with that. So that I guess the big sort of like jump was when we started thinking about sort of like, first of all, we made the jump to consoles based off of a previous title, which it started out as a mobile title, and then we ended up switching it into a split screen console title because that was just the way we got the kind of public demand had shown us they wanted it to go. It was through shows we took this game to. We had a PC demo version of it and a split screen to demo how it would work, and people just go, yeah, we want that. That would be really cool on the console. So we did that. So once we jumped over to making console games, then we thought, okay, well, we want to stick with the local multiplayer kind of thing because we like the idea of bringing people together. We call ourselves a grassroots studio because we're all about our people, the players, the people involved. So yeah, we want to bring people together to play together, and plus it's the games we grew up on as well. And we just came up with this idea. Well, hang on a minute. Is there a way we could make it a competitive multiplayer and a co-op multiplayer at the same time? And that seemed that had just enough sort of like difference in the way it works to think, yeah, well, we could do something with this with the Bullion idea. And it just, those two things kind of meshed together, and it just worked.
Let's kind of talk about that. So you just said you're both, so it kind of like, so you're both competing against each other, and you're both kind of going the same objective at the same time. Obviously, to me, the initial of that would be like, oh, there's like a score or how many people are killed tied to that. Is there something else there? Like, how does this kind of work?
Right. Well, the most basic mode, we call it avarice mode because it's about grabbing as much loot as you can. So Bullion is all about treasure at the end of the day. It is actually possible to win a round of Bullion, in the time mode especially, without even getting in a fight. So the idea is to smash open the chests and grab as much treasure as you can. Enemy characters drop treasure when you kill them, and you can fight with the other pirates on the crew. And if you take one of them out, they'll drop a bit of their treasure too. And then they turn into a ghost because, I mean, what's a good pirate story without ghosts in it, right? So dead pirate becomes a ghost. Ghost can either wait 15 seconds and then respawn automatically back at their gravestone, or if the ghost can be walked back by the player controlling it to the gravestone, then they come back as soon as they touch it. The key thing is, though, that if all four players end up as ghosts at the same time, it's game over and nobody wins. So on one hand, you're trying to grab as much loot as you can and stop the other pirates from grabbing as much to keep up with you to make sure that you're the winner. But on the other hand, you don't want the whole crew to wipe out. So you've got to kind of like balance that. I'm grabbing as much as I can with. I don't want that other person getting killed. I want to go and help him out so we actually survive this. And that becomes even more of a thing in the boss battle mode, the Defiance mode as we call it, because when that's going on, you've got the bosses have quite some of the bosses require quite a lot of teamwork and strategy, but you're still trying to be that one with the most treasure at the end to be the overall winner. So it gets quite interesting and fun to watch when people are playing this sort of like with public demos. We've got people who've played it a few times before, and they'll be trying this boss battle, and someone will get greedy and go after some treasure and get out of place and cause the whole team to wipe out. And it's it looks like you imagine sort of like with your old Mario Kart when someone blue shells someone and the person on the receiving end sort of like just has a bit of a go at them. It's like that with three people also like having a go at this one person who's just gotten a bit too greedy.
Yeah, that sounds both great and it sounds so chaotic. Like that sounds like, is there in when you guys are in this stuff, like was there any level of like too much chaos, or is that your goal? Just make it as chaotic as possible as long as the players are having fun, kind of. Because like 4 players sound like a lot, but like depending on what they're doing, depending on what's going on the screen, that is a lot of stuff obviously happening visually all at once and stuff too.
There is quite a lot of stuff happening. I mean, obviously there's there's a timing aspect to it, so you don't want to overwhelm the players with everything happening, and it's not like you're constantly besieged by enemies. You've got you'll have them coming in waves, or each island, each arena has sort of like its own character to it. But yeah, I mean it's as one group of players once described it as saying that they like one of the things they really liked about it was the dynamics. So you're all rushing around trying to collect as much treasure as you can right at the start of the round, and then as the numbers of enemies start increasing, you kind of need to shift more into a crowd control mentality. So yeah, it's you kind of got to get that hit that balance with it just right, and yeah, sometimes it can get pretty chaotic, but yeah, the key thing is that people are having fun when they're doing it.
Oh, that is always the key thing. So as we said here, so this game's like it's a brawl. You're kind of fighting back and forth. Can we talk about kind of a bit like what is that moment-to-moment combat? Is the players all just hitting each other? Do they have access to any type of weapons? Like what does that look like for the players kind of when they're in the moment?
So we've kept it as simple as we possibly can, and yes, you can start off with this with just simple button mashing because I mean we wanted something that was going to be fun for all ages to get involved. I mean, my two kids, my 7 and 9 year old daughter, they love playing this against me. Normally they team up and kick my ass, But yeah, it's very simple. But each character has a certain sort of like rhythm with the different sort of like the different attacks they do. So if you get your timing right on that rhythm, then you increase their damage. So each character has sort of like a basic damage stat and a boost damage stat. And when you get that timing right, you start building up the combos by adding the boost each time. So there's there is a bit to it on that front. And then you've got obviously characters can block and then counter attack out of that block. And the other key thing is that the dash that all characters can dash as well. But that's more like an enraged bull. So if you imagine they just go in a straight line, and anything that's sort of like reasonably lightweight, they can smash through or knock out of the way. So if you're in trouble, and your dash is fully charged, you can just hit that button and smash through anything that's surrounding you. And as long as you don't run into a wall or anything, you're all right. So there's like I say, it's not meant to be overly complicated to play, but it's not as simple as just straight up button mashing once you get the feel for it.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And that bull run sounds so satisfying of like just kind of you got it like perfectly going. I'm assuming does the bull run I assume do a lot of damage? You hit people too with it? I assume it's not just a getaway, or.
Well, I mean, the bull run. I mean, that was actually one of the sort of like the key features that made us think, yeah, this is going to work with Bullion. It was sort of like, yeah, we could have the characters so that you've got kind of like an escape, get out of jail mode option with the bull run. But yeah, I mean, it's different because you've got your regular damage from your weapons, and then the dash move, the bull rush. That does knockback damage rather than sort of like straight regular damage. So if you smash into somebody and send them flying. That will mean they take a certain amount of damage when they land, when they hit the ground again. But if they happen to say smash into a tree on the way back, they'll then take extra damage because they've smashed into something else. So you can, again, it's almost like it's almost like a pinball kind of effect. You can kind of like smash into a character and have them bounce off of something else and do some really heavy damage that way. And the other thing, of course, with it is that if you've got, say, a whole bunch of enemies bearing down on you, you can just face towards them, hit the button, and play Skittles with them. Just knock them all flying like a bowling alley.
That's the move that sounds real fun. That move sounds like that sounds great. The other thing I've noticed too a lot is it's not just small enemies too. The other fun part is it looks like there's like at least some level or some variety of more boss or serious kind of battles kind of in this too. Can we talk about that kind of? So obviously we've talked about these kind of the enemies kind of around as you're facing too. What is the like grander like you're going through kind of who you're facing in this world?
Well, I mean, the overall plot with this is that, here come all the cow puns and jokes. So, Captain Long John Silverside and his crew of bovine buccaneers have sailed to the Forbidden Islands of Sirloin and angered the heathen gods of the island. So they've been struck.
Do you guys need to like hire like a cook or something to make sure you get all the correct meat puns just proper right there?
Well, what you've got to remember is I'm a dad and I've got two little girls. My co-programmer Paul, he's a dad. He's got two boys that are a bit older than my girls. We've got another dad on the team who's got two sons as well. We are walking libraries of bad dad jokes. So I mean, a few of them took a bit of looking up at sort of like, is there something we can make a pun out of or a joke with that? But a lot of it is just sort of like, yeah, we can. That sounds ridiculously horrible. And it's going to make people groan. So let's go with that. But yeah, I mean, the idea behind it is literally what little plot there is that the curse of the cutthroat cattle. The curse is that only the pirate bringing the greatest offering of treasure to offer up to the heathen gods will leave alive. The others will be struck down by the heathen gods. So that's why you're trying to collect as much treasure as possible. But otherwise, there's no real sort of like at the moment. There's no real sort of like progression in terms of you're doing this and then this and then this and then this. It's more like we're looking more at sort of like the Mario Kart or Bomberman. Let's have a round. Let's do this, race this track in Mario Kart, or let's fight in this arena on Bomberman or Smash Bros or something like that. There doesn't have to be a progress. Although that said, there is Voyage Mode, which does take you through a series of islands one after the other, and you're looking for an overall winner there, kind of like your Mario Kart Cup mode, where you're doing several tracks.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. So as we're talking, you currently have a demo out on Steam. Obviously, people could download right now and go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, how has that demo kind of changed development? Obviously, you guys are in the back end of development here. Has that demo kind of changed some plans for you guys? Has it changed how you balance some things? Kind of what has that been like?
Well, the demo hasn't actually, because of the way we approach this. So because we work in spare time, it's taken us several years to get to this point. But we very quickly decided when we first kicked this off, we very quickly decided we wanted to get people involved with this as early as possible. So as soon as we had sort of like the first island design and the 3D art for that, and we had the first character, which was Long John Silverside. He's sort of like the captain that you'll see with the red jacket on, all sort of like in all sort of the imagery for it. As soon as we had those two things, and I'd put together a prototype for it. We literally put production level graphics onto a prototype. Did 4 different versions of Silverside with different color skins on them. Hacked together a title screen to put on it, and just started taking it out to trade shows and expos to see whether the idea was actually going to float, to make sure to see what people would think. And we found the general public were playing it. They found lots of bugs. They gave us lots of ideas. They said it'd be really cool if we did this, or how about that, and we were able to incorporate those things as we went along. So every step of the way, we've been engaging with the public, We've had people on board to come and play it at these shows that we've taken to, and we've been able to take stuff away. So even when at the point we had got the demo out, it was already pretty solid in terms of where we were going with it. It was just finishing it all up.
That makes perfect sense. So you said you took it on trade shows. You kind of took it through that whole journey. Now that feedback, I'm actually very curious. With the moment you put it in those people's hands, kind of was that the kind of the moment I assume also the team kind of really saw people it click too, like a few of those trade shows, or was that more of a it was a learning experience kind of?
Sorry?
The trade shows. Like when you're out on the trade shows floors, kind of what was that kind of experience like out with this game?
Well, I mean, Paul and I had done a few shows with previous games, but so we'd kind of had our eureka moment with what it's like to see people playing and reacting well. But what was really cool was especially in some of the earlier shows where we managed it, where some of the other team members were able to get along, and they hadn't done anything like that, and so watching their reaction to the players' reactions, sort of like they're seeing this game that was very rough at the time, but it's got their art and their sound effects and their music, and it's all baked in there. And people are playing it and they're going, "Yeah, I really like this. It'd be cool if we could do this." Or, "Hang on a minute, this doesn't look quite right." Okay, cool. Yep, you're absolutely right. Have a pin badge because you spotted a bug. The overall reaction, especially when people are sort of like, you've got these kids who play it, sort of like, "Hang on a minute, I'm going to go and find my mate," and then they bring their mates back and they all play together, and that's an unbelievable feeling. And similarly with the guys who hadn't been to any of these shows before, and it was Bullion was their first shows. Just sort of like the sheer sort of like euphoria they must have been feeling, knowing that they something they had made has brought some fun into someone else's life. That's a pretty cool feeling.
That is the feeling. Like, especially you see those moments. You see someone, you're like, okay, I'm gonna come back. You're like, there is nothing quite like it, and especially games, these things of once we release them, you don't really see those moments, and now those some of those few times you kind of really see them for people.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, what's really good fun is when you've got a whole family sitting down to play. Mum, dad, 2 kids. We've actually put a disclaimer on one point on our website now saying that by playing the game, you can't hold us responsible for any sort of family fallings out or upset because if someone's beaten someone. Because what we found is that mums tend to win a lot because they're sneaky. So what will happen is, Dad and the 2 kids will get in the middle of the arena and start a big fight off. Mum will just sneak round the edges and grab all the treasure and then go, "Oh, did I win?"
Of course. It's always the obvious of well, well, I just didn't notice. It just happened. Just pretend they're hiding the whole thing.
Yeah. But it always starts off with them saying, "Oh, I'm not very good at games. I don't know if I want to play it. So it's really easy. Here you go." And then they win. And sometimes it gets really competitive. And it's like we did a show last October. That was more of sort of a groups of friends show rather than a families show. And we took some video footage there. It's up on Twitter. This little montage that we made of all the different sort of reactions of people. And what was really cool was that this was for Halloween last year. So there's actually a bunch of guys there dressed up as pirates, and so we had them playing Bullion. At the end of it, they've all pulled out these sort of fake pistols and started having a bit of a fake argument. Yeah, a little sort of fake argument over the outcome of the game. It's little moments like that is just priceless. It's brilliant.
That's great. I actually have one kind of technical question for you before we get out of here. Is so one of the things I noticed immediately is that this is a controller game and a controller game only. I was kind of curious if you don't mind just for a minute here, kind of talk about why that decision came to be and kind of where that was. Was it just kind of, I assume the mouse keyboard just didn't give the right feeling, or?
Well, I mean, primarily it was a primary target market was actually the Switch, because Nintendo have a huge history of local multiplayer games, and they're sort of more in tune with the kind of family vibe I find that we found than sort of the other consoles and audiences. Bullion can be controlled on the keyboard. It can be done, but it's local multiplayer. First of all, I mean, we've considered the idea of online multiplayer, but we want to, because we're looking at bringing people together. We want people to play locally. At best, you're only going to get 2 people on a keyboard.
No, that makes sense. You can't really split. You can't split that too much. Or you're like, I have a keyboard and another person on like a mouse, and then another person on the other half keyboard. Like, how do you start playing at a certain point?
Yeah, it would just get to it would just get to. I mean, the coding challenges of dealing with that alone, would be crazy. I mean, like I say, you can get 2 people on the keyboard, mainly because when I was testing it, I didn't want to have to carry controllers and all that around with me. So it's sort of like I got very good at learning how to control 2 characters at once on either end of the keyboard, and trying to split my attention with them. But it's controllers are definitely the way to go with it.
No one appreciates enough, besides developers, of like how many weird nuances we have to make. Because we're like, I don't want to test it this way. No, we have tested like the weirdest, dumbest way possible because you just want to jump to spawn a level.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, developers are actually very bad at testing because we know what we've built. So we test it in the way that we think that we built it, and occasionally we'll deviate off that. But we're used to thinking about things in a certain way, and this is again where taking it to shows and putting it in front of the public has really kind of like paid off, because they will do things that you would never even in your wildest dreams imagine trying. Like, oh, I'm going to use the dash maneuver and see what happens if I dash into the boss. It's sort of like this huge boss character, and they're going to try and dash into it. It's a case of, oh, what do we do for that? And so we've had to kind of like come up with things we hadn't even considered. And there's I don't know if there's anybody equivalent to this on sort of like any of the US the US kind of gaming conventions, but here in the UK in the smaller conventions, there's this one kid. He's known as the Knuckles Kid because he wears this Knuckles the Kid in a cap, and he's known by loads of indies. And he just has an innate talent for breaking games.
That's amazing.
But what's really cool about it is he'll tell you exactly how he did it afterwards, so you can fix it.
I like how there's just a person who's like a professional, just like he's almost like a professional QA tester, but solely for conventions, that just like pops in, goes, "Here's how I broke it. Have a good day," and just like pops back out. Like I picture him like teleporting in. Like,
I mean, the thing is, I mean, he's only sort of like in his early teens, but he just is so darn good at it. I mean, that kid has a future in the games industry. Just as sort of like a senior QA or something like. He's just going to go straight into it. But yeah, I mean, obviously, he's sort of like one of these characters that we've come to know over the years where we've been doing these sort of shows. And the other big plus about doing these shows is you meet people in the industry, you meet streamers, you meet all press, and they get to know you, especially if you've got a crazy game about pirate bulls.
This is true. But yeah, we have been here now talking about Bullion, the curse of the cutthroat cattle. I've got to ask you kind of as we get to the tail end here, is there anything you want to shout out on the game or anything like that we have not talked about that you feel that needs to be shouted out?
Well, only only that we're releasing the full version in mid-February. Exact date will be announced shortly. So as we're at the time of recording, it's still under wraps. So I got to keep it quiet, but. Yeah, it'll be available on Steam and also Switch. We've got the US lined up for Switch now as well. So yeah, keep your eyes open for that. Get your mates around, get a pizza in, get the beers in if you're old enough, and spend the evening virtually stabbing each other.
That sounds great, and really, we do not recommend real stabbing. We only recommend virtual.
No, of course not. No, keep it virtual. Keep it on the screen.
You should just like your opening disclaimer is like a video of being like, "This is a game," and like stabbing is a no.
Yeah, definitely not down that road. But and the whole point is just get your mates together, have some good old fashioned fun.
Absolutely. Well, I want to say again, thank you for talking to me today. To close it out, would you like to just tell people where they should be checking out the game, where they should be wishing listing it, all of that fun stuff?
Yep. So obviously the game will be available on Steam and on the Switch eShop, and also if you go to www.bulliongame.com, it's all one word, no hyphens or anything like that. So bulliongame.com, just like that. Then you can get all the information that's there. You've got the trailer videos, you've got the demo download links, and we're going to obviously point those at the stores when we get that far. So yeah, go and check it out.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you for talking to me, and best of luck as you are running toward end of development here.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
The SWW show and all of its affiliate podcasts are podcast by me, Mike Maroney, and AJ Losi, sometimes by our contributors, including Corey King. You can follow the SWW show on social media at the SWW show, or sooner or later you go to patreon.com/SWW to help us out. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day.